Elvis served his country for 2 years, but his actions after the army show he was a true hero. Elvis Presley's groundbreaking career was famously interrupted in its prime by a 2-year stint in the U.S. Army. But his service to others did not stop once he had left the military and returned to his day job. Here is a look at how the king of rock and roll kept on giving, and in the process proved that as well as being a musical pioneer, he was also a most generous star. Born in Tupelo, Mississippi in January 1935, Elvis Presley moved with his family to Memphis, Tennessee in his early teens. This was where the 19-year-old first entered a recording studio in 1954 and began fusing country and R&B to popularize a sound known as rockabilly. After signing with RCA and manager Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis issued his first single, Heartbreak Hotel, in 1956. Elvis rapidly became a massive phenomenon and the defining star of his generation. He scored numerous chart toppers and became a regular face on both the small and big screens. But his early career was by no means without controversy. His provocative performances often incurred the wrath of America's conservative audiences, as did his ability to transcend the color line. The man who quickly became known as the King sustained his incredible early success into the following decade. But nevertheless, many thought Elvis paid too much attention to the advice of manager Parker in focusing much on soundtrack and acting work for various much maligned B-movies. However, the singer returned to his former glories in 1968 with a legendary eponymous TV special. Elvis remained one of the most important, revered, and commercially successful artists ever to grace the music industry. His career sales total reportedly stands somewhere between 600 million and an astonishing 1 billion units. Singles-wise, the singer also holds the Billboard record for the most top 40 and top 100 hits, and the number of cumulative weeks spent at the #1 spot. In addition, he's also acknowledged to have had the highest number of top 200 albums on the Billboard charts. But the King's enduring success is all the more remarkable for the fact that his career was interrupted for 2 years early on by military service. The U.S. Army drafted the star in March 1958 at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, as a private. Despite being a global icon at the time, Elvis insisted he did not want any special treatment. Indeed, the star's famous locks met the same fate as the other new recruits, being unceremoniously sheared off by an Army barber. After completing his basic training in Fort Hood, Texas, Elvis was posted to the German city of Friedberg as part of the 3rd Armored Division. But his producers at RCA ensured that he did not become a case of out of sight, out of mind back home by gradually releasing various unreleased songs over the 2 years he spent in Europe. By the time he left the Army in 1960, Elvis had scored a further 10 hits on the Billboard Top 40. Nevertheless, the rock and roller's personal life changed dramatically during his spell in the military. In August 1958, just weeks after learning she'd contracted hepatitis, his mother Gladys passed away from heart failure at the age of 46. But in September the next year, the star met the then 14-year-old Priscilla Below in Germany. Almost a decade later, the New York-born woman became his wife and subsequently the mother of his only child, Lisa Marie. Less aptly, it was alleged during his military service that Elvis developed a love of amphetamines. The star became something of an advocate for the stimulant after being introduced to the drug by a sergeant. However, the Army also inspired Elvis to take up a more harmless pursuit, karate. Famously, the singer would often incorporate martial arts moves into his performances after coaching from German karate legend Jürgen Seidel. Shortly after being promoted to the rank of sergeant in late January 1960, Elvis was honorably discharged from the Army. "People were expecting me to mess up, to goof up in one way or another," he said at a press conference at the time. "They thought I couldn't take it, and so forth, and I was determined to go to any limits to prove otherwise, not only to the people who were wondering, but to myself." However, in contrast to Elvis's ebullient public pronouncements, Priscilla later revealed that the singer was concerned about how his military spell would affect his career. The King could have maintained his public profile had he signed up for Special Services, the entertainment wing of the U.S. military, but he ended up serving as a regular GI on the advice of manager Parker, who believed that this would earn the star more respect among the American public. Indeed, Elvis received a hero's welcome on his return to U.S. soil in March 1960, with fans mobbing the train which transported the king to his hometown in Tennessee. He also received the Army Good Conduct Medal for his service, having achieved qualifications as a skilled marksman. Nevertheless, it was the star's generosity which impressed his military men the most. In a BBC Radio 4 documentary about Elvis's military career broadcast in March 2018, many of his compatriots recalled the star's inherent kindness with affection. One former GI remembered how the king had once paid $15,000 from his own pocket so that the three buddies could join him for a 14-day furlough. The group then enjoyed the rock and roll party lifestyle for the entire 2 weeks. And reportedly, his generosity during his time in the U.S. military didn't end there. Indeed, it's said that the star gave all of his army wages to charity. On another occasion, Elvis stumped up $1,500 on the QT to help with funeral expenses for a fellow private who had lost his entire immediate family. In addition, the singer purchased televisions for the military base and ensured that all his fellow soldiers at the facility had an extra set of fatigues, but sometimes on a more high-profile basis. After famously buying the FDR presidential yacht in 1964, he promptly gave it away to a children's medical research hospital. The King's Aloha from Hawaii show in 1973 raised more than $75,000 for cancer research, while he performed a benefit gig 2 years later for tornado victims in his Mississippi birthplace. However, alongside all the grand gestures, Elvis also made countless smaller donations to charitable organizations across the country. In fact, he surreptitiously gave individuals sums of $1,000 or more to 50 Tennessee charities each and every year. The singer also settled sundry medical bills, debts, and mortgage payments for numerous acquaintances, all without any media fanfare whatsoever. And Elvis was just as generous with his nearest and dearest. He ensured that his close family never wanted for anything. He once paid for the construction of a brand new home for his dad, Vernon, and stepmother, Dee. The king also forked out thousands of dollars to buy houses for his good buddies, Joe Esposito and Jerry Schilling. Sadly, Elvis became more renowned for his ill health and rumored drug misuse than his generosity during his later years. By the mid-1970s, the singer had been diagnosed with everything from liver damage to high blood pressure to glaucoma. The king had also become highly erratic on stage, with one critic describing him in 1977 as a grotesque caricature of the sleek, energetic former self. Tragically, Elvis's lifeless body was found in the bathroom of his Graceland home in August that year. Cardiac arrest was initially announced as the 42-year-old's cause of death. The original medical examiner claimed that drugs had played no part in the king's downfall. Nonetheless, other reports suggested that the star had 14 toxic substances in his system at the time of his demise. Nonetheless, Elvis's giving nature lived on in the form of two major charities. In 1984, Graceland/Elvis Presley Enterprises Incorporated founded the Elvis Presley Charitable Foundation to honor the king's memory. And in 2007, his daughter Lisa Marie formed a philanthropic nonprofit organization known as the Presley Charitable Foundation. In his later years, Elvis scored a massive hit with An American Trilogy, which quoted from the Battle Hymn of the Republic with its line, "The truth is marching on." Check out these other videos from Let Me Know. If you haven't made the move to subscribe to our channel, all you need to do is click on that red subscribe button. Thank you for watching.